So the other day, we took off the flowers and removed the shrine for Buddha's birthday. And the shrine, the Buddha was born in a canopy of flowers, and the Buddha took 7 steps and proclaimed, "I alone am the world honored one." And this you would say proclamation, I started to kind of reflect on it, and all the all the teachings and the practice, or you would say the teaching of just sitting down is something that's very valuable. And it's so subtle, and it's so profound that we cannot see it, but we as practitioners, we aim in a way that's it's limitless, it's boundless, but it's actually we're actually aiming at nothing when we sit down. So just like the Buddha 2,500 years ago sat down, but just like Bodhidharma we have over there, he sat in a cave for 9 years, and he also sat down. The same with Eiheiji. He went to China, and then he brought back just sitting to Japan, and then so on and so on, and down to Shunryu Suzuki-roshi, and actually to this very day of actually sitting here. That's also why we're here. This I alone am the world honored one. It's last week I started to use the term. It digs down to the what is your most deepest innermost request. So I think coming here, we're trying to answer a question that's quite big, and it's quite vast. But what is it? What is it that brought us here? What is it that brought you here? And it could be you want to be a better person or learn about Zazen, but something brought us all here before even the idea of what brought you here. So the idea of maybe a faith or a belief, believing in something is important. But this belief is something that's very, very deep. But it is only up here in your conditioned thinking. But in when we practice this faith, or this trust, or this confidence, actually through conviction and through your effort becomes imprinted, and it grows through actually direct experience of actually just sitting. So direct experience is it's like an imprint, and so I alone and the world honor one is, it's not, yes, it is you, but at the same time it's the eye of the Buddha's eye that sees all things, and it's limitless, and it's indescribable, and it doesn't differentiate from duality of good and bad, long or short, or inside outside. Um, so this practice that we do, this just sitting, is yeah, it's very important, and it's very deep. Like I was saying, it's very subtle and profound and deep. But yeah, I was thinking the other day, um, we we went, Kashin, my wife, and my son Asia. We took him to Arches National Monument, and the Canyonlands, and it was quite cold. So at times it was snowing, and we would drive up to the rim of the canyon, and it would be completely. It was completely white. So we'd get out of the car, and someone was passing me in a car, and he said, "There's nothing to see out there. You can't see anything." So I got out the car and walked out and just stood there, and it was just all white, you know. And the conditions the conditions out in Utah, in that area, is like there's red rock, and then there's really blue sky, and then the conditions in like 15 minutes could change immediately, and then you can see way deep down into these canyons, and the landscape of the canyons, they have these uh, you could see the layers of the canyons, and the layers are like millions of years old. It's just it's like timeless. And then also you could see really far away, like 200 miles away, and it's so vast. And it there's something that draws you, and then people, then they're taking pictures. They're trying to take a picture of this canyon, and this wide space that is so vast, that's inconceivably profound and big, and also the time scale is so great. We even took pictures like selfie, and then you could see the canyon in the back. um, but yeah, it's just amazing how, when we look, um, and when we are there for, you would say, for that canyon to appear, or that spaciousness to appear, then it's you are there to receive your deepest, most inner request. And that's very profound. So it's not even, um, the thing that you're looking at, but it's actually the thing that you're looking at is, it can only be, but you have arrived. So that's what we're sitting, um, in zazen, but no, we're not waiting. We're not waiting to arrive, but we have already arrived before actually we sit down. But we don't believe in it enough, or we don't trust it. But however, the the arrival of oneself, um, just like I was saying, it's an imprint. So this arrival of oneself is actually, it's the yeah, it's the whole body. When you're sitting zazen, and you're absolutely like doing nothing. You're not sitting there. um everything then becomes like I have mentioned before. All parts of your body then they become one. Just the parts of your body become one, but that's great when just the parts of your body become one. So like your hands, you forget your hands, where your hands are. You forget about your heart beating. You forget even about your brain thinking, and all these parts become one. And then that's the whole faith-like body. So that's that imprint, or this conviction, that grows deeper and deeper as we practice. Um, so it's not a belief outside of ourselves, or it's not something that's gifted from somewhere or something else. It's not mystical. It's not a method. It cannot be named. It cannot be described. But however, when we sit and then be truthfully realize and look at reality itself with nothing on top, then all subject and object come together, and then you, or I alone, am the world honored one. Um, see. So then the other day, after we took down the shrine, then I went into the sewing room. We were at the end of, or maybe in the middle of a sewing intensive. So it's the practice of sewing of the Buddha's robe, or okesa. And on the table, it has the I take refuge. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma, and then I take refuge in the Sangha. And so, of course, taking refuge, or saying this is good, but then at the same time, it's a direct experience that you have. So it's namu ke butsu, namu ke ho, namu ke so. And it's interesting because the kanji of na is actually a south, or it's a direction. And then mu is actually empty, or it's actually nothing. A key means to arrive, or actually it also, they have a word that homecoming, ki a, and then a is depend on, to depend on. So this faith cannot arise, but only when you pierce the fabric with the needle. Um, so it's the fabric, it's the needle, it's the moon, stars, and sun. So it's everything that when you say uh, Namu Kebutsu, I take refuge, I surrender. Kie, ki is also to arrive, also it's to surrender to. So it's to honor. Again, it's to arrive. It's to arrive. Um, yeah. I have this something to read out of. When you sit in the upright posture and are aware of reality, all evil is like frost or a drop of dew. If you settle in this samadhi, all evil will disappear as promptly as frost or a dew or a drop of dew disappears under the sun. Being aware of reality, there is neither subject or object, and we're immediately released from the karma of the hell of incessant suffering. When you sit in the samadhi, you will enter directly into the realm of the Tathagata. Therefore, this samadhi is endowed with the limitless virtue of the roots of goodness and the limitless obstructions of one's evil deeds caused by evil karma will disappear without a trace. As this samadhi is truly the incomparable great Dharma wheel and the practice of ever going beyond Buddhahood, it is beyond words and discriminating thoughts. So the detail to clarify and rely on this samadhi is very simply done by not clouding the light of yourself. So this light is it's your wisdom. It's when this light is when you have arrived. But this light also it exists before you have arrived. When the light of the self is clear, you follow neither dullness or distraction. When the cloudless light illuminates itself, there is no need to make mental struggle. So there's no waste of energy. So this is the vital point of practice and enlightenment of this samadhi. So this is very interesting about the turning of light and dark, or you could say of thinking and not thinking. There's a shift. The cloudless light illuminates itself means that the light of the self shines brightly. Not to make mental struggle, so it's no fabrications. Means not to add the illusory mind's discrimination to reality. So these are all the parts coming together when the mind is settled and very clear. When you make mental struggle, or there's distractions, or you start to label things, the light becomes illusory mind, and brightness becomes dim, or it becomes dark. Then the darkness itself becomes the self-illumination of the light. So it's very interesting. So that the darkness is also the light. So they're the same thing. If we work like the same. This is similar to the light of a jewel illuminating the jewel itself. So it's like the light when it shined on that canyon, on the canyon. The clouds come, there's a flurry. You can't see, but the canyon, then the clouds go away, and then the light shines, and it shines everywhere. So it shines on the rocks, it shines on the water, shines on the trees, shines on all the people, shines on everything, and it doesn't discriminate at all where it shines. Same with the moon. When it's full moon, somebody was telling me they could see everything at night. This was maybe a couple weeks ago when we were walking to the Zendo in the morning. It was bright out and you could see everything, and that's at nighttime. So there's no discriminating thought. So in this samadhi or sitting zazen is to keep the light of the self unclouded without being concerned with discrimination of objects. This is true transmission of the Buddha, or all the Buddhas and all the ancestors in our lineage. So it's knowing without touching things, illuminating without facing the objects. So this is great. See here. So it is imperative for those who practice the way to believe in it. Those who have faith in the way, this conviction, but it grows, should know for certain that they are unfailingly in the way from the very beginning, and are thus free from confusions, delusions, disarray, as well as from additions, subtractions, and errors. Believing in this manner and penetrating the way thusly, practice it accordingly. Such is fundamental to learning the way. It's a manner and principle that cuts off your working consciousness and prevents you from heading down the path of intellectual understanding. So over and over again to experiment with the practice of Zazen, of cutting your working consciousness, and 8 out of 10 times you will be able to find the way instantly. When both your body and mind and your flesh may be in idleness or in unbelief, you should confess in utter sincerity to the Buddhas who are before you. When you repent in this manner, those Buddhas will liberate and purify you through the meritorious power of your confession. This is an interesting one. The other week, I was driving Asia to school, and of course, I have to drive fast a lot of the times to get back to the Zen Center. So sometimes when there's a lot of traffic or I hit a lot of lights, that's not a good day. So I was driving pretty fast. There was a lot of traffic off of Montgomery Drive. There was someone in a lane that I needed to get to, right? And I was gonna cut the person off, right, to get in the slot because I need to get there fast. So the person I was going towards that lane, the person slowed down and then let me in. So right there, and then I said, oh yeah, why am I doing this? So I even then didn't follow this person close, but I let off on the gas and then give that person space in front of me. Okay, and then we went around another corner, and then we went together, and it was a totally different experience. So it's whatever you're doing, you can actually actually confess. This is a confession, and say you're sorry. Say you're sorry to yourself. Say you're sorry that you didn't arrive. This is your own arrival. You should confess in utter sincerity to the Buddhas who are before you. So it's the person in the car, it's a person at the checkout stand, it's a person that's also maybe yelling at you because you're driving too slow. When you repent in this manner, those Buddhas will liberate and purify you through the meritorious power of your confession. This merit will richly nurture pure faith and spiritual endeavor, which are unobstructed. So this is great. So it's not like the I alone I alone am the world honor one. It's not like I want to be happy and just smash everyone. I want to be the happiest person. When you're happy, then there's a lot of people that are not happy. So I alone am the world honor one is we have arrived. One becomes a Buddha by virtue of the merit of one's honoring all Buddhas. There's a story about There's two stories I want to share, and I'll end. Let's see here. Ordinary common sense knowledge of human beings and devas is not necessarily the vehicle by which the world of illusion is transcended. Even in the Buddha's time, one person realized the 4 stages to sainthood because of a bouncing ball. The Great Way was illuminated for another when she put on Buddha's robe. Both were ignorant, not smart people, no more enlightened than beasts, but by virtue of trusting, having confidence in the right faith, the path of deliverance from illusion opened for them. An old monk, muddled by age, heard some young monks discussing the 4 stages of arhatship and was carried away by his desire to attain them himself. He asked them for instruction, and they jokingly replied that they would oblige him if he cooked a big feast for them. So the old monk cooked a big feast for these young monks that were laughing at him. Having finished their meal, they directed the old man to sit upright in a corner. And so he sat up in a corner in a chair, and he joyfully acquiesced. He was present, and he believed in it. He believed in them. Whereupon they began to bounce a ball against his head, saying, "That's the 1st stage." But with that, the old monk actually did attain the 1st stage toward his goal. They continued to bounce the ball against his head, each time in a different corner. So they changed corners in this room. And then he reached the 2nd stage, he reached the 3rd stage, and he reached all the 4 stages. And each time the ball bounced from his head, he did attain each stage, including the highest one. There's this other one. Another one is about a sharp-witted woman who was deeply devoted to Buddhism and would provide food for the monks after they got out from the temple. And she would give them food in return for some Dharma words. So one day, the feeble old monk was walking out of the temple, and he needed some food, so he dropped by and then ate some food, and she offered him a meal. But the woman expected to receive some teachings from the feeble monk. But the witless monk could think of nothing to say, and when she sat down and closed her eyes in anticipation, he grabbed the opportunity. He left. He ran away. But as she sat waiting, she didn't even know that he ran away. She reached enlightenment. She reached enlightenment with overjoy. She was so joyed, then she ran after him and tried to find him to thank him. So she finally caught up with the feeble monk and said, "I'm so happy. I'm overjoyed." And so she thanked him deeply. And then the monk, he was so honored that also he gained enlightenment. These are very nice stories.